Perfect. All right. Well, then I guess I'll just share my screen. Um, so that way everyone can kind of just see the Prezi that I made. Um, Hold on one sec. I'm still kind of a newbie with Zoom, so you have to forgive me. All right, there we go. Okay, so SPJ 2020-2021 operating guidelines. So this is kind of just going to be how we are going to conduct these meetings, just kind of create a flow from week to week. That way there's a little bit of order, although I really picture it being kind of a collaborative and very just open space for us to just kind of provide our updates, go over some basic announcements, just get sort of some progress and status reports and all that good stuff. So to begin, I really just kind of want to begin with like a foundation of respect. So everyone on this board is an equal, regardless of any sort of titles or affiliations we have. We'll all have equal voting rights, and so we'll also have equal time to have our voices heard, and we'll all have an equal seat at the table. And so we're going to strive for open communication and honesty about our commitments, our deadlines, and pressures that we're facing during these challenging times. So I don't want everyone to understand that your first priority is being a student. And so, of course, if you have things, other things that you have to take care of with school, you can totally feel free to just voice that here if we're putting some demands on you that, might conflict with something else you've got going on that week. If you can't make a certain week, don't feel afraid or pressured. This is just gonna be a very collaborative kind of open environment. So we're gonna support each other and make sure that we all are not getting burnt out. We're gonna work together to overcome obstacles with a positive attitude and a collaborative mindset. So we're in this together, so we should be allies. So I really think what I hope for is that we're gonna foster a lot of collaboration, and even though you might be working on one board and I'll be working on or one committee and I'll be working on another, I'm sure there will be so many ways for us to intersect and help each other out. So that's how I kind of see this. We may be all kind of tasked with different responsibilities, but I'll have your back and you have mine kind of thing. We'll respect the fact that our student body consists of not just full-time students, but part-timers, foreign students, and other folks, including some with late starts this year. So we must always remember and advocate for that throughout the year, which kind of brings me to my next point. So a big thing that I talked about a bit in my campaign was focusing on diversity and inclusion. And so I spoke with Rebecca, and we decided that this year we're going to have a diversity and inclusion representative. So our kind of discussion was that as a board, we're always going to be having these pillars in the top of our mind: diversity and thinking about representation and thinking about the diverse student body that we have. But having kind of a go-to pinpoint person for these issues, and someone who will be tasked with advocating for that and standing up for that on the board, I think we both agree, and I hope everyone on this board agrees, is important. And so with that, I asked Aruba if she would like to, and she enthusiastically agreed. I think she makes a fantastic diversity and inclusion representative as a part-timer who has already been here for a year. She's also the university senator, so she's kind of a fantastic person to fill this role. So, Aruba will be the person that you can go to if you have any sort of thoughts about diversity and inclusion. If there's ways that you think that we can be better advocating for a certain body of students, or even just certain individual students in particular, you can feel free to reach out to her. Of course, you can always reach out to me as well. And there will be a few other ways that we'll be coming up with throughout the year to kind of address these sort of issues. On top of that, the vice presidency, I also just wanted to make it known that Danielle Sine unfortunately reached out to me this week, and she let me know that she has a few other outside responsibilities, and so she didn't think that she would be able to make the commitment of being the VP this year, so she figured it would be best if she stepped down, which is totally understandable, especially right now with everything going on with this transition to virtual everything. And she also has some work that she's doing outside of school. So hopefully we can work with her in some capacity in the future. We'll keep the communication going, but I'm not sure if she's here yet because she said that she had a meeting, so she would be running late. But who will be filling the position is Leanne Herder, who is fantastic. She's a part-timer as well. And so, when she comes in, I'll be sure. We've all already introduced ourselves, but I'll let her kind of introduce herself again and just kind of talk about, what she hopes to do. But we spoke a little bit throughout the week, and she's really excited for this role. I kind of think of all of us being equals, but I definitely want you guys to see like Aruba and, Leanne as like sort of like a team unit with me, and like we're kind of like all a cohesive singular group. So if you come to any of us, we'll all make sure that like, everything is getting facilitated and everything is being discussed. So if you have specific issues about events or whatever's going on, you can go to any of us, and we'll kind of all address it as a team. So it's good to have folks who are going to be top of mind here, and having these sort of issues at the top of their mind, like Aruba representing the part-time and inclusion kind of in our top leadership will be really great. Having Leanne as well will be, I think, a really great asset to us. And so another announcement sort of, but it's going to be kind of the operating guideline that I'll send to everyone in a PDF that I've made on a Google Doc. And I kind of imagine it to be something that will change up as time goes on. But this is our 5-step process for board meetings. So this is kind of how I expect to run our board meetings throughout, from week to week, to create some sort of structure and flow. So that way, I really am going to kind of be adamant about getting us out of here on time. If we can wrap up earlier on some weeks, I think that would be great, since we're already in such constant communication with each other as it is. So, if we need to put this down, we can always continue the conversation on WhatsApp or on email chains. I'm making sure that I have the Google Doc in front of me as well while I'm talking. But so these are going to be our 5 steps. So this is in consecutive order. So the first step, every week, we're going to recap the key points from last week's meeting. So we're going to have our secretary go ahead and do that each week. If not our secretary, either maybe Leanne or me, depending on, what the situation is each week. Just kind of running through some of the top issues that were discussed, some of the, key points that were made, decisions that were made, announcements, just kind of the sort of key minutes from the last week's meeting. The second step, we're going to address outstanding items. So if there were things from the week prior that, we couldn't finish talking about, that we didn't, ultimately reach a decision on, or things that we just, for whatever reason needed to check back in the following week on, if it was a project or something with an extended deadline, that will be something that we will then include in this outstanding items step, so step 2. In step 3, we're going to get updates from committees. So this is where we'll hear from all of the heads of our committees, subcommittees, our speakers director. That we'll just be able to get sort of, progress status reports here about where things stand, if there's upcoming, whether it be an event or whatever it be, a collaboration with the career office, or, whatever we have coming up throughout the year that, we need to hear kind of where we stand on certain things. This will be where that's said. So then announcements, it's sort of similar. These things I kind of picture will blend into each other in some ways, but this, I think, also provides us a good space to just have general announcements. So, if we are going to skip a board meeting, for Thanksgiving one week, or, if we're changing times, or if there's something else, or also if the university provides announcements on something that we want to see how maybe as a board we should respond to in some sort of a way, this can be an option, a chance for us to do that. As a last step, we're going to have new items. So every week there's going to be a way, I have a Google form that I'll send out as well, and it's going to be on that Google Doc that I'm going to share with everybody after this. But basically you can go into this Google form and you can submit items for us as a board to discuss. So basically, it's just kind of like you fill out your name, and it's like an elevator pitch, just the title for the item. So it can be, collaborating with Career Office on a virtual internship event, and then like a pitch, and it will be like, what would you like to see? How would you like to see the board collaborate, or what would you like to see happen with this item? And so you can say, I would like to collaborate with the Career Office on creating this event. And then here's how I think that we could work on this as a board. And then we can contact you directly and let you know, hey, we're already working on this. We're going to bring this up in a month, or we'd love to get that started. Let's bring it up at next week's conversation or at next week's meeting. So that will be a way for you to be able to have your voice heard on the board and kind of submit your ideas. I want to make sure that we use that though going forward. And I'm going to kind of be a stickler about it, because I feel, that if we all just kind of bring ideas each week, which I want to do, and I want to have some free flowing opportunities, but when it comes to specific items, I think that we should be having some sort of a structure about submitting them, reviewing them, and then discussing them as a team. That way we just kind of have a process in place for where do we stand on this item, rather than it just being something that gets brought up and then we don't actually, follow through with it. Are there any questions so far, by the way? Just chime in. If not, I'll just keep talking.
So on your slide about announcements, there was the secretary, because like there was a bullet point about the secretary. Did you guys end up finding somebody for the secretary?
Yes, sorry about that.
Good.
Completely.
Yeah, just making sure.
Thank you for catching that. Yes, so I spoke with Tori, and Tori is going to be our secretary. And I've worked with Tori last year in our big Covering American Politics class, which I just learned was our capstone class. I guess you'd call it. I didn't even realize. But she's really, really great. We worked on a story together. She's incredibly detail oriented. And so I spoke with Rebecca as well, and the position will be somewhat different. A few of our key positions are going to be slightly different this year. So Megan, I know that something that you brought up last week was thinking about possibly having that transcription service as part of our weekly meetings, I think it was, as well as like the transparency around funding and whether we use any money, having the budget kind of cleared and all that. So I want to look at ways that we can do that. Both of those things are definitely still on the table. But when it comes to a secretary, I wanted someone who will just be able to kind of keep track of our key items and kind of in this phase, like the recapping key points from last week. I'm going to lean on Tori to do that every week. So she'll be the one who kind of is saying like, so last week, we discussed ways to collaborate with Career Office. We discussed creating a subcommittee on, tuition, whatever it might be. So we'll have her kind of keeping track of, where in the transcript the big points, can be found. Any other questions? No? All right, so we still have to fill some open board positions. What time is it? Okay, so 5:03. I'm going to share the operating guide with you guys, and we're going to do some basic planning for next week's meeting. So these are the 3 open board positions that we still have to fill. So the webmaster position, the film doc coordinator, and the student life chair. And Rebecca, we kind of discussed it a little bit last week, but I was wondering if you could just kind of lay out a little bit more about what the student life chair may be responsible for.
Sure. It's anything and all things that is to give a work-life balance break to students. So they want to do networking groups, trivia night. If we can figure out a book club, or if we can figure out a way to screen stuff and have people talk about it. Anything that's fun, basically, to give a break and give networking opportunities that you're not getting from just being in class. So it's pretty open.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, so it seems like it's something that you can kind of have fun with and create in a way that you want to create this year, especially with everything being virtual. So if anyone has any good ideas for sort of virtual
Right.
planning,
And
this might
I
be
do
good.
want to just add something. This seems like it's a very big, a big position, but basically it's going to be the entire board's responsibility. We just need a point person to make sure that the board is engaged in doing something. If someone else wants to be a lead, that's okay, as long as they coordinate with the student life and the student life person knows about it and can help out and is making sure that publicity goes out.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of these are kind of going to be sort of point positions and like go-to folks, but we'll all be tackling these issues together and these sort of goals of ours together. But is there anyone who would be interested in something like that right off the bat? And just feel free to, to chime in.
I'm not sure if it's hard to hear me, but I would be interested.
Yeah. Okay, great. Is there anyone else who's interested in either the webmaster or the film doc coordinator position?
Yeah, I could take probably webmaster. I could probably handle that.
Was that you, Megan, for webmaster?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no worries. Perfect. And then do we have any folks in the film doc track or the documentary track?
The only person who does that is, who I know, is David Peter Hansen, but he's not on the board. But we can talk to him if we want to, because he's in the doc program, and he's also a part-timer.
Okay, it has to be someone on the board already.
Yeah.
Especially after tomorrow. After tomorrow, the board completely closes because you have to have done that training.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Officer of any committee, of any organization.
I feel like Grizz may have expressed an interest in this last time. I don't know. I'm not trying to speak for you, Grizz, if you're there.
I don't think Eli's on the board. I mean, on the call either, but she's on the board,
I don't have any experience in that, but the webmaster, I did have experience, so I can assist in that, but I don't have really any experience in film and doc. What does film and doc would coordinator entail?
It's going to be very different this year. In typical ways, it's usually been someone who does two things: tries to bring in documentarians to show their work and come and talk, and then also create fun weekends. Like for Christmas, they did, and the Jewish holiday or the holiday season, they did like a Sunday, and they showed like 3 movies, and the same with Halloween. So it's going to be different this year. I wouldn't be too worried. I think we can have other people. I'm not too worried about filling that position. I just want to make sure that there's someone who is saying, hey, it's time for us to do something film related. And even if it's just having someone work with the doc students to see what they're doing, maybe promote what they're doing, or working with DuPont Center. I mean, any other place in the university, in the J School, to kind of work out some awareness of documentarians and documentaries. So I'm not too worried about filling that position. I'm more inclined, we need a student life chair and we need a webmaster. Okay. So I'm not worried about.
And what again are the webmaster responsibilities?
Anything we do, they put it up on the web. We have an SPJ page, and it's a WordPress page. So they're responsible of keeping the material up. Like if we're going to have a town meeting, or if we're going to do an event, or we're promoting something, it needs to go on the web page. That one's pretty easy. It gets a little more complicated when we get ready to sell stuff, because that's where we have to connect the PayPal buttons to be able to purchase. But again, it's just script. I can help with that.
Yeah. Okay, well, so then, Griselda, you already mentioned last week that you wanted to do webmaster, correct?
Yeah, because my thing is like social media content. So I do creation, and that's the thing that I usually do.
So Megan, would you want to be the film doc coordinator?
Actually, Chris, we could use someone who's in charge of the social media channels. So we could use Griselda to manage our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Awesome.
Can we combine that then? Just have the webmaster also be in charge of social media? That seems like that makes sense, right?
We could. I personally think it's a lot because I do that for the Deadline Club, and anytime I have to put something on the webpage, it feels a lot to have to go then put it all at the channels.
I can handle social media. That's fine with me if there's no problem with anybody else.
I'm happy to, if that works for you, Grizz, and you know, I'm happy to help out with posting things on the sites or taking over the social media every now and then if you need to.
No problem. I definitely can do that because that's up my alley.
Awesome. And then Megan, do you mind? Would you be interested in being the film or doc coordinator as well?
She's muted. Megan, you're muted.
Yeah. Well, okay. Kind of so annoying that I didn't even realize it was muted. What I was gonna say is, like another thing we could do. I guess it was already worked out, but like Grizz could handle the social and I could handle the website. But it sounds like you already have that figured out. I'm not particularly
I think that's perfect then. That way we're splitting the responsibility instead of combining it.
Yeah, I would prefer to split it because it does take some time to sometimes post on WordPress because, you know, it's sometimes hinky, I find. So I would prefer to have it split. And I think it's
sure.
That.
Is that okay with you, Grizz? Or
yeah,
that's perfect.
It sounds like she really she's a social media maven. So
yeah,
cool.
So I'm definitely up that.
Take it. Please have it.
Yeah.
The grant. I have the social media.
Cool.
Can we give Griselda then some sort of like a social media coordinator title then or something, just so that way we know that she's the person?
It's actually traditionally called publicity director.
Publicity director?
Yep.
Great.
That's
Awesome.
her title.
Perfect.
Cool.
There we go. So I'll update our operating guides that I'll send to you guys. Maybe I'll do that before I send it over to you. And Shayna, so you're happy being student life as well?
Yes, definitely.
Wonderful. Awesome. Cool.
Hey.
That was so much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think we need a named film doc coordinator. I think between all of you, if you just was like, hey, it's time to think about doing some programming with film and documents, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I think if you know, we can promote our own kind of documentaries and stuff from within that are happening at the school throughout the year.
I agree. And I can talk to Lisa Cohen and ask her and coordinate with her. Yeah.
And actually, Lisa just sent me an email. She's desperately wanting to publicize the thing that's happening tomorrow with the Lewis Gates.
Okay.
So tell your friends. I think it's posted on the group Facebook if you want to just share it.
Yes, it is. And there was an email about it as well. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, awesome. So we won't have an official film doc coordinator. We're all film doc coordinators now. Great. I think that's it. Is that my whole presentation? I think that's everything. Oh wait, no.
Steps for next week.
Yes, hold on one sec. We're gonna make this work.
Can I just say, Chris, I haven't seen someone use Prezi since I was working as a teacher in San Antonio. You are filling me with so much joy because I'd come up here and I'd be like, just make a Prezi, y'all. Just make a Prezi. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, never mind.
Do you not care about your transitions between slides?
Thank you. Magic.
Okay, great. So here's what's next. So we're going to have a board-wide push for this student engagement with this questionnaire that I've created. And it's linked to our Gmail account. So I'm going to send it to you guys as well. It's going to be on the operating guides, and I'm going to include it in the letter that I send to the student body. But basically, it's just asking folks for some of their top concerns and what they think that the board can do about these concerns. So we'll all have access to them. We can all take a look at them. And I really hope that, you know, I'll send out that letter probably by Tuesday the latest, but I'm hoping we'll get it out by Monday. And then I'm hoping, you know, by Thursday we'll have at least a good handful of some student responses that we can take a look at and start to kind of dig through and see if any of the things that we're already kind of planning you know, will help out our student body and what else we should be doing to you know, address the concerns of our campus. So we also have to invite students to join the committees. So a lot of the folks who have positions right now are going to kind of oversee these committees. So like Kate Stockram will oversee the speakers committee. Jasmine will oversee the community service committee. So there will be a few that, you know, I think there will be kind of like some small separate worlds in our board, and that's when we'll be getting these updates. But what I want everyone to kind of do is just invite all of your friends to join these committees, regardless of, you know, what their interests are. Just there will be a place for them on our board, and a place for them to have their voice heard. And I want everyone also to kind of come up with ideas for next week. So, you know, virtual programming and sort of community building. Shayna will, I'm sure, be kind of thinking about this a lot, and hopefully she'll kind of be the point person for some of these sort of interesting like community building ideas that we'll have. And then one item that I wanted to introduce, and so I wanted everyone to get started on for next week, is to begin the consultation process with the career office. This is something that I'm going to be doing as well. But basically, they have if you don't know, the full-timers get this whole sort of training on it, but the part-timers don't. But essentially what it is like this whole process that you go through with the career office to get your resume ready and get you sort of primed for the job interviewing process. And they have a whole sit-down consultation with you. Aruba has done it, so maybe you can actually share a little bit about how it went, because you just did it this week, right?
Yeah, I just did it this week. So before you schedule your appointment, make sure you have to watch a bunch of videos, which are led by Gina Bubion, and she goes over every section of a resume, what you need, and all the components, all the elements. So make sure to watch those videos. They're very short and very brief, and they know exactly, it lays out exactly what you need in a resume. Once you've completed that, you can also refer to the resume guide and any resume samples, and that's how you can use them to make your own resume. The session went really well. They introduced you to a lot of resources that you may not know. There's something called, I think, what was it called? It was Leadership Connect. And on that platform, you can access all contact information, including like emails and phone numbers of editors, and pitch out stories to them. I didn't even know that existed, but that was just one of the things that Gina showed me. And a lot of the stuff, a lot of the advice that they give you is super valuable, and just don't schedule one. Now they have something called where if you guys are looking at your J-School emails, they have 15-minute sessions or even more, depending on the time frame that they have. Mac moments, so lowering Mac, you can just go in, drop in your questions. There's a time frame when you can go in, and Gina also has those, as well as Julie, because of the pandemic. That's how they've laid it out. And yeah, so you can drop in anytime, but the session went really well. I encourage all of you to book it, because it really is helpful, and they all have really great skills and invaluable advice to offer you. So yeah.
Just as a note, if you're a first year part-timer, you can't do it this year. You have to wait till next year.
That's actually not true, because
yeah.
I went last year.
Changed it?
Yeah.
Same,
Yes,
I did that last
yes.
year too.
Yeah. So that's a false. Yeah, they told us that. They're like,
They
a
told
lot of
us
people, I
that.
guess, didn't know that. Yeah, but no, you can go both years. We actually have it. We can go twice or as many. Yeah. So.
See, this is why I'm on the board, okay? Because
this is why SPJ has.
I would have absolutely done that last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, so Aruba and I had a meeting with the other point of this is because we had a meeting with the career office this week.
Mm-hmm.
And they are really, really excited to work with our board in a number of different ways. We have some like ideas that we're kind of brewing. I want to hear what you guys think too. So I'm going to hold off on kind of like announcing anything, prematurely. But they are really, really excited to hear from us. And so I think us going through this process of doing these consultations so early on in this, in the year will allow us, as a board to sort of scrutinize it and analyze where they could be doing better and what sort of things we think they could be doing better during this pandemic and during this new like virtual world. And they seem very receptive to collaborating with us. So I think like maybe we can even, you know, in the coming weeks, I don't expect anyone to get this done by, you know, this coming Thursday, but I hope that by next week we can at least just kind of all update on where we are. Like, oh, I've started the process. I, you know, set up an appointment for mid-October or whatever. And then, you know, in the coming weeks, this will just be something that we'll continue to kind of work on. So that way, maybe by like the end of October, mid-November, we'll have like a Google Doc or some sort of working collaborative thing that we think like are some key points that we could offer to the career office. But that all said, they are super excited to work with us. So I think that there's a lot of potential in thinking about how we're gonna, you know, tackle this next year. Think about the career office and what we might be able to do with them, and in, you know, ensuring that our students are getting in front of jobs and a lot of good opportunities. It seems like they're totally willing to work with us on a lot of number of different things. And then, yeah, just as a last reminder, everyone has to show up at the mandatory training tomorrow, the Enough is Enough training at 8 a.m. So here in this Google Doc, if I'm still sharing my screen, so this is, you know, just kind of recapping what we went over. So this is going to be the 5-step process of how we go through our meetings. These are our committees. So academic affairs, and again, these are just kind of the point people. So academic affairs will be led by Leanne Herder. Community service will be led by Jasmine. Film, we're not going to have anyone leading. Student life will be Shayna. And then speakers will be led by Kate. But again, we'll all be able to have an opportunity to kind of chime in and work on all of these, you know, in all of these areas. Here are the links to the student survey. So if you want to just drop this in your WhatsApp groups or wherever you want to post it, you know, you can go ahead and do that. I'll include it in the letter as well. This is the link for board items. So if you want to introduce new items each week, this is where you'll do it. And in case you just want to take a quick look at what that looks like. So it's pretty straightforward. You'll have your email address pop up, your name. This is the title of the item to be presented to the board. So in my example, it would be, you know, completing consultation with career office. And then please describe the item you would like to be discussed in 4 to 6 sentences. So I would say, I think it would be beneficial for everyone in the board to go ahead and complete the consultation process with the career office. That way we can assess, you know, potential gaps in opportunities, you know, for virtual, you know, virtual jobs or virtual employment or, you know, whatever it may be, and have everyone in the board contribute their opinions in this issue. So pretty straightforward. And then for the student survey, it's pretty similar, pretty straightforward as well. It's not anonymous. I thought it would be good to maybe be able to reach out to specific people if they have concerns. So do let everybody know that they'll be identified, but we're not going to share this with any sort of, you know, instructors or anyone like that. I imagine Rebecca will be the only other person who will be able to see this besides us. So you'll include, you know, your name, your email, what program you're in.
Hey, Chris, you need to add data students and Night Badger fellows.
Data and Night Badger, cool. Great, so before we send this out, let me do that, and then I'll just send you guys a note and let you know that it's updated.
Okay.
It may be a good idea to like have an anonymous option, or maybe make the name thing. I mean, like, you know, just to consider. The other thing I had a question about is, you know, for introducing topics to the board, is that survey going to be open to the, you know, general student body? And then similarly, is the general student body sort of welcome to sit in on these meetings? You know, from what I remember of like the student government in my undergrad, it you know, this was, people would like come in, sometimes they would talk, but most of the meeting would be run by like the elected, you know, students. So I think that could be good to sort of, I don't know if people will be interested in like, you know, participating in these meetings, but I think it could be nice to sort of open them up to the general student body if they're not already.
Traditionally, no, these are closed meetings, but we always have guest speakers when we have people who want to do a co-sponsorship or want to make us aware of something. So if we have other students who are working on petitions or students from other groups, they can come in and they usually are at the top of the meeting, make their spiel, and then they leave. We could have a couple of open meetings, but we have to actually make them like identify them as open meetings and have people come in. In general, when we've opened up meetings, no one comes. If they come, it's because they want to complain, and then they really don't want to hear anything else. They just want to make their statement and leave. So that's where we kind of developed a beginning top of the meeting where they can come in and make their spiel.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, I really like that idea. I mean, why don't you go ahead and submit that as something that we can discuss? I think having maybe a potential open meeting, whether we do it, you know, once a month or if we do it, you know, on a planned kind of scheduled thing, that we can invite people to and let them know that this will be a chance for them to talk with us in real time. Or maybe there can be some way that we can just kind of have like an office hours event or like a town hall event or something along the lines of that, so that we can not just do the performative thing of having it be completely open and transparent, but actually having people come and you know, contribute and engage with us. I think that's the goal. But I really like that idea. So why don't you go ahead and when we send this out, this can be one of the first items that is introduced. But yeah, I like that.
Can't wait to use the new Google form.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any ideas or any potential things that they may want to submit that we can kind of get a fresh or early start on discussing now? No? Rebecca, since this is my first meeting, have I missed anything that might be worth including?
No. The only thing that we need to get a head start on now is the vice president, who's in charge of academic affairs, needs to start trying to connect with Sheila Cornell to see if we can coordinate a meeting that she meets with SPJ. We have one meeting a semester with her, and just kind of get the lay of the land of how they feel they're doing. And sometimes they like doing it as a canvas to get opinions of how it's working out on your side. And it's usually one of the SPJ meeting times.
Okay, absolutely. I'll reach out to her right after this.
Actually, I would wait until Chris, have you made your introductory emails to them?
No, so I was going to say, so I'm sending out some notes. I was supposed to send them out today, but I got extremely busy. But I'm going to do some introductory letters to the deans and to Sheila and to everyone. So why don't I let you know once I do that first, Leanne? And then maybe next week, early next week, after the letter to the student body has been sent out as well, maybe then you can go ahead and Rebecca, I'm sure you would probably just want to be CC'd in that as well, right?
Yep, just like with everything. If you CC anybody outside, you need to copy me. I mean, yep. If you contact anybody, please CC me.
Yeah, and feel free, Leanne, I'm happy to help you out with that as well and work on that with you. So if you want to include me, I'm happy to help or not, whatever you prefer.
Cool.
Great. Cool. Okay. Is there anything else does anyone have any questions or anything?
In regards to the social media the publicity director position, is there any way that you can email me the information, Rebecca, like passwords to the account?
I will give you all of the access, and right afterwards I'll give Megan the access to the website.
Perfect. And is there something that you want me to, do I have to like get permission from anybody in regards to like posting something that might be relevant to our board? Or like, for example, should I go ahead and post, you said Lisa has the documentary tomorrow or something like that.
Yep.
Would you want me to
Yeah.
post?
Yes, actually you can follow the email that Sheila Cornell sent yesterday. It has all the information if you either want to take stock of that, or I think it's posted on the group, the Facebook group.
Yeah,
So
I found it already.
Okay. Yep.
Lisa posted it.
Yes, we can do that. Yes. So that should be part of Chris's operating guide about how we go about doing social media posts. Probably at the end of each, or at the end of each meeting, there'll be like a list of things that needs to get posted, and then if something comes up, I guess just contact Chris and get the okay to get it posted.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Great. Yeah. And a lot of this will be like, we're all kind of learning as we go. And so I imagine this guideline will be updated several times over. And, we're all in like a new world now. So don't be afraid to ask questions, reach out. Next week, if you still have questions about your position or, what it might entail, don't hesitate to contact or just ask during the meeting. I have a ton of questions that I've been asking Rebecca, like, sporadically throughout every day, so she's been extremely helpful to me. So I'm sure she could be helpful to you as well.
Exactly, that goes for everybody. If you have questions of what people in your position or things you're interested in have done in the past, that's why I'm here. I'm here to tell you what worked, what didn't work, and give you a heads up on any obstacles you might come up against. Now here's another question: does anyone need a wake-up call for tomorrow's deal? Because I'm serious, man. If
I'm kidding, no.
Aruba,
Okay.
No,
look,
no, I'm kidding. No,
if Aruba and I are going to be, you're in really tough titties right now.
5 a.m. like 5 a.m. Yeah. I mean, I get up early anyway because I have to pray, but like this, I have to get up exactly like.
No, I'm serious earlier. Because if you miss this, you're off the board, and I can't afford that. We can't afford that, so that's why.
Don't worry,
serious.
Rebecca. I won't. I'll be fine. I'll set like 5 alarms. I should be okay. Yeah.
You guys are committed.
Hi, Rebecca. Can I say something, please?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you had actually said last week that you're going to introduce me to somebody at the Deadline Club.
Yes.
I just wanted to know how far, and should I have to schedule like a private meeting with you, or?
Yes, let's set up a meeting and I can tell you some things that have happened in the past and what you're coming up against, because right now the Deadline Club is kind of reorganizing, so they don't quite have a student representative person. So our meeting is next week. So I will have more information after that meeting, but I'd like to meet with you and tell you some of the things that, you could possibly think of doing.
Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, if no one else has questions, another one of my intentions is, I know a bunch of us have class at 6 p.m. So if we don't have to be here longer than we need to be, we can go ahead and wrap it up so everyone can kind of have a little break before they jump into their next thing. But yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any questions before next week on Thursday. Go ahead and get started on on setting up the consultation with your career office. Think about some virtual ideas and opportunities for our campus, and show up to that goddamn enough is enough training at 8 in the morning.
Yep.
Which I don't know how you guys are going to do at 5 a.m. So good luck.
I'm impressed. The other thing is I'm going to put the recording of this on our Columbia. We have a Gmail account. Chris mentioned it. It's actually columbiaspj@gmail.com. So we have a YouTube channel, and I will put this, but I'm going to list it as only those with a link can see it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll send the link to it after it compresses and is ready.
Can I just say before we go that I'm really impressed, and it made me feel really excited to like pop on and see not only a Prezi, but like this huge list in this Google Doc and this form. Like, Chris, killing it. I'm proud of each and every one of you. Like, this is great. Let's kill it, y'all.
I'm proud of you guys. I mean, we're starting with such energy compared to, you know, some other years. This is like one of the biggest years in recent history. There's so many part-timers who have you know, gotten onto the board this year. There's just such a diversity in our voices that I think we'll be able to do a lot. And, you know, there's a lot that we're going to be up against, but you know, already I've started making phone calls and speaking with people, and they're more than happy to work with us. So I really think this is like what we're going to make it. It is what we're going to make it. And so I hope that we can make it into something really special. So I'm excited to be working with all of you guys.
Yay.
All right, well, go relax a little bit before your next class. Reach out if you have any questions, and I will see you next week at 4:45, all right?
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.